This is an example of how you can set up your TLPS presentation for IBOLC. So in the beginning, you'll get your operations packet with all your ops graphics in it for any enemy analysis, your friendly situation, all the way to your company scheme of maneuver. You'll also get your operations order through 5 different paragraphs. And then from there, you'll have your ops graphic in a couple different ways to set them up. And then for your platoon operations order, you have a warno on into your timeline and so on and so forth. How I set this up was a bunch of different sheet protectors and then printing out your platoon operations sheets and sliding those into your sheet protectors and then just writing on your sheet protectors. And then when you move between different platoon operations, you'll be able to just erase that writing off and rewrite on them. A couple other people that I know did laminate each of these packets or each of these sheets of paper. So 2 options: you either can do sheet protectors or laminate those papers and write on them and just erase them between each operations order. With that, as you go through your operations order, you're gonna need to make ops graphics. So a couple different ways that people set these up. When you're using the 1 to 50K map, you're able to get some acetate. How I set up this one was putting 2 pieces of acetate together, taping them together, and then you're able to lay that on top of your 1 to 50K map and line those up. It's like, for example, this is your macro GTAO that you'll set up, leading from your TAA to your objective, showing your avenues of approaches, your key terrain, your type of terrain that you're going through, whether it's restricted or not, and then also your enemies' avenues, approaches onto the objective. Along with that, you will have a micro GTAO, which is right here. How I set this one up was I went to Home Depot, had some plexiglass cut out and taped that. You can see in the back there's a sheet that I pulled out of the ops graphics that comes from the company operations order. And I taped that back to the plexiglass sheet. You're able to write on the plexiglass and erase it, or you can take acetate and tape it on the edge right there and flip them on and off. It's like this one. I have three different ones attached to it with some tape that I can just flip on and off. That's another way you can do it, rather than having to take that acetate on and off. You're able to just flip it over. But that's my micro GTO, same setup, avenues, approaches for both sides, key terrain, your objective, and then that restrictive terrain. For that, moving into the macro enemy SITTEMP and how I set it up. So just another piece of acetate that I took. Go ahead and line it up, and then you're able to present your enemy situation, which is going to be 2 levels up for you. The location, the assets they have, and along with that, you'll brief that SITTEMP with a part of your operations packet. After timeline, after your GTAO stuff, and then your enemy general situation disposition, you can brief off that GTAO and their assets that they have. Start with 2 levels up and then move into 1 level up. This is the 1 level up that I have my micro enemy SITTEMP. And you're going to present this and how you think the enemy is going to fight with action, reaction, and counteraction. So they're set up on how you think they're going to be set up on the objective, and present to your observer how you think they're going to fight in correlation to what moves you're going to make onto the objective, and then what counter reactions they're going to have and you're going to have to each step of the fight. Walking through the phase lines that you're going to hit, when they're going to fire their targets, and how their assets are going to move throughout the fight. From that, the other Those are two. So for your micro, or sorry, excuse me, for your macro, you most likely use the 1 to 50K map. And then another option you can use will move into your schema maneuver, so your friendly schema maneuver. Let me set this up. So this one, I took a piece of plexiglass cut out from Home Depot and just went ahead and drew right on it. So that's another option, is you can take a piece of plexiglass, write on it, and then you can move it on and off the graphic or your big map that you have. So for this, later in your packet, you'll present, there was SITTEMP, which we just did. Then you move into your own mission statement, your concept statement, and then your concept of operations. So before that, before your schema maneuver, you'll have a COA sketch, which in the beginning, I gave my observer my Warno and my COA sketch, which I took out of my packet and just gave that to the observer in the beginning, so it's laid out on the table for when you're ready to present. SOSR sketch, if you need it for the operation, you'll pull that out also too, along with your COA sketch. And then when you get to your concept of operations, you'll brief that each stage on your COA sketch. And it's just a napkin drawing of how you're gonna fight. Don't go too detailed into it. But when you get to your concept of operations, this is what you'll brief off of your COA sketch. And then you'll move into your schema maneuver. So your five different phases or 4 different phases, depending on what you pull out of your company's operations order and the steps. So for like example, for phase 1 and part of 2, phase 1 was started off in the TAA up to the right, and have that depicted on there where the TAA is. And then you're gonna move into your phase 2, which is gonna be your movement. So you're gonna draw out your routes, how you're gonna arrive at the objective, and then listing your checkpoints and your CCPs along the way. So you can see we have CCP 1 established in TAA. Your dismount point, and then like in this one, you have your DOA onto how you're gonna reach the attack position, and then ending with phase 2 ends with the establishment of the ORP. Something else that helps to have along here, your phase lines. Make sure to have your phase lines on there, which you can see right here. And then also you're gonna have I put my fires overlay on, or my fire missions on this phase 2. Another option you can do, which I'd not do, is having a specific fires overlay with only fires on it. I saw some people do that. And then also having your platoon's boundaries on here. So if you're fighting side by side with other platoons, you need to make sure to have your boundaries on there. So moving into that was phase 1 and 2. And then I moved into another option. Similar setup to what I showed earlier, with pulling out a piece of your ops graphic from the packet they give you and taping it to the back of that piece of plexiglass on top, and then just writing onto the plexiglass for phase 3. So you can see we start off in the ORP, and this is going to be the start of your actions on. So starting off in the ORP and seizing onto your objective. But we have our phase lines on here. We have our CCPs. We also have our DOAs, we have our fire missions, and also those platoon boundaries again, making sure we stay within those boundaries. In this one, we put on our rally point, along with, I listed our mortar firing point on there, and then our objectives, and then also your obstacles. So your obstacles are gonna be enlisted in green color throughout your operation. With that, one second. So with that, you see you can flip these on and off if that's how you want to put it on there. I went into a deeper or more micro schema maneuver. This is another example of phase 3 alpha. So we can see we have our phase lines, we have our objectives, or excuse me, yes, we do have our objectives. This is our objective, and then these are other platoon's objectives, just for the awareness of how our other platoons are going to fight behind us. But we have our obstacles, and then how we're going to fight throughout the fight, where our support by fire is going to be set up, and where we're going to seize through, and our decisive point with the purple star. And then also, this is a part where we brief our social sketch, and we pull that out and show how we're gonna get through the obstacles, and then what assets from our platoon are going to be set in the specific positions. From there, you can move into phase 3 Bravo, and then also 4. So just a continuation of how we're going to fight throughout the obstacle. What squads are going to seize onto the objective, what squads are going to be in support by fire, and how they're going to move in after we've seized the objective. And this one specifically, so the next platoon coming in behind us is going to follow on through the same breach that we did on the obstacles, and then we're setting in support by fire for them to seize onto their objective. So we depicted that on there, and then our rally points, our passage points too, and then our AXP, which should list out to the side, and then also your CCPs too. Make sure to have on those, and potential fire missions that you're going to have, and then don't forget your phase lines too. And then from there, this is also going to be our phase 4 too, which is our last phase, and how we're going to set up onto the fight. So this one, in this company operation that we got, we were informed to set up battle positions after the seizure onto the objective, so we can have our battle positions listed onto here, and you can brief who's going to be set up in what battle position, which way they're going to orient themselves after the operation. And our sister platoons have moved on to their objectives and established their battle positions also. So for that, that's some examples of how you can set up your operations order. You're also going to have your TT LODAC, so you use this to brief what fire missions you have in each phase, getting specifics on that, and then you move on to your sustainment and command and signal. In the end, just using those sheet protectors, and then throughout your operation, you'll use your ops graphics and your acetate that you drew on to go through what parts of your operations packet correlate with your ops graphics. So that's an example of how you can use your TLPs and brief your TLPs and set up your packets and your ops graphics.